Hi guys, this is Surbhi from the Mom Store, back again with Expert Talk with the Mom Store. This week we will be talking on another interesting topic, which is postpartum care. And there is so much, debate around it, questions around it, myths around it. Why do we need 40 days of rest after a delivery? Why should we tie our stomach, and is the stomach binding wisdom actually help us regain our core strength? Why should we undergo massages post-delivery? So today we have Preeti Sukumaran, co-founder of Kriya, an Ayurvedic consumer products company which believes in environmental sustainability, non-toxicity and high consumer safety, to join us and bust all our myths and tell us the reasoning behind all of these traditional practices. So let's just welcome Preeti. I think she's facing some network issue. She'll be joining us within a minute.
Hello.
Phoebe, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm sorry. I'm just getting the hang of this whole
Yeah,
thing.
that's fine. That's fine. And just to introduce Preeti to all our viewers, Preeti is an IIM Calcutta alumna, and she started her career in FMCG before becoming a passionate advocate of environmental sustainability, high consumer safety, non-toxicity, and went on to found co-found Kriya, which is an Ayurvedic consumer products company, and which is based on the whole basis of being environmentally sustainable and using completely non-toxic products with no chemicals. So welcome to our Expert Talk with the Mom Store. Very, very glad to have you with us.
Thanks, Surbi. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate, how the Mom Store is looking after your community of young moms and giving them, all the relevant advice that they would need to make better health and wellness decisions. I really appreciate it. So thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you so much for spending time and going, we will be going through our questions, which our viewers are really interested to know about women health and postpartum care. And so thank you for sharing your knowledge with us.
Right. Happy
So
to.
let's just dive right into it. And I think in the new
Absolutely.
age and the millennial moms, the biggest question that we have is that, we are independent, we've always been up and around, we are different from our previous generation. So why should we follow the traditional practices of, 40 days of rest and care after our delivery? Is it really required? And if yes, what is the science or, the reason behind it?
Right. Okay. So first couple of corrections. It's
Okay.
48. Not 40. Okay, and it's not even 48. What is recommended is 6 months. Okay, so, and in fact, some of the texts say, if possible, do it for 1 year. So the rest period is actually quite long. I think, the intentioning behind this rest period in Ayurveda is actually very beautiful and I would say very clear. The intention is this. Childbirth is physically extremely difficult and sometimes can be very, very traumatic. So one is that this rest period acknowledges this difficulty undergone by the mother. Second is there is a very deep impact on the mother's body and the psyche. Right now, while a lot of women, in our generation who are going to work and who are taking up very big responsibilities at work, and there's always a tussle between work and looking after your body. I mean, that is one part of the problem. The second part of the problem, which is I think a good thing, is that a lot more of us are acknowledging the effects of being a mom today more openly and more bravely. A lot more people are acknowledging the effects of postpartum depression, for example, right? this was something that was not talked about before, but it always existed. And if you look at the Ayurvedic text, they've actually written that postpartum depression is one of the things that can happen when the mom is not well taken care of. There are a lot of reasons behind it. So the rest period is actually to acknowledge the deep impact that this whole experience has on our bodies and on our minds. It also signals to the entire family that something special is required for the mom, and unless you are given a break from your regular routine, that's not going to happen. So that is one part of it. The second part of it, I feel, is very wonderful. In across the shlokas, what they've said is that this is what the husband should do. This is what the elders at home should do. This is what the elderly women at home should do. And they have made a difference, saying this is what your mother should do, and perhaps this is what your mother-in-law should do. So there is a whole team effort that is acknowledged in Ayurveda. Different people are supposed to provide different kinds of emotional, mental, and physical support for the mom. So it's like a team effort to get the mom back on track, to get her stronger, and to get her ready, to take on life. So it is like a break, and it acknowledges the tremendous effort that the mom has taken and the tremendous impact it has on her body. Lastly, this postpartum care provides inputs for, I would say, both physical and mental care, because Ayurveda recognizes the impact that happens on the mother both physically and mentally postpartum. So whether it is the food that is suggested, whether it is the regimen, like Abhyanga or stomach tying, whether it is isolation, whether it is the use of medicated smoke, herbs, sounds, all efforts are taken to cover both the physical body and the mental body, right? So this is recuperation. So I think that the thing that we need to acknowledge, that this is not small. This experience is not small. So the effort must not be to ignore this period, but the effort must be to enjoy this period so that we can come back better. So that I think is the whole reason for this. The question about 40 days, 48 days, 6 months. So the whole period of postpartum care in Ayurveda is called Sutika Upachara. Sutika is the postpartum, the newly delivered mother. And it's actually divided into 3 phases. Okay, the first phase is a Sadhyaha Prasuta Kala, which is the first 10 to 13 days immediately after birth. Then the second phase is from the 13th day to the 48th day. The third phase is from the 48th day up to the 6th month, right? And what they have said is that in each phase, there are different challenges that the mother undergoes, different health challenges because of the way her body is, because of the circumstances, etc. So for each of these periods, actually, different care regimens are mentioned. The acharyas have also mentioned what are the physical issues that can happen in each of these 3 periods, and therefore what is the care that we must, take. So when we look at the 48th day, it is actually just the bare basics. If we say, today we are saying why even 40 days or 48 days. But according to Ayurveda, 48 is just basic. You have not even gone up to 6 months, right? Different acharyas have different opinions on how long the woman should rest. But all of them are united in one belief, which is this, that before the woman, in Ayurveda, the first menstrual cycle after you've delivered a baby is a very important factor, right? It cannot happen too soon. It should not happen too late. If it happens too soon, then the body is weak.
I just wanted to interrupt you, to get the specific. How soon is too soon?
Right. 3 months is too soon, according to Ayurveda. Ideally, it's 6 months, because they correlate menstruation with the readiness to have another baby, and they feel that the woman's body physically and the woman emotionally is simply not ready for this experience. So at least 6 months, ideally 1 to 1.5 years. So when you're weaning the baby off breast milk, ideally is when you're supposed to get your next, period. So I think the experience today is that many women do get it within the first month after delivery. Some of them get it within 3 months. And what Ayurveda says is it's too soon because the body cannot handle the stress of menstruation and blood loss and anemia along with this. So a lot of the postpartum care is also to manage the body so it is strong enough to again restart the whole cycle of fertility, conception,
Right.
etc. So 48 days I think is should be non-negotiable. 6 months, if it's possible, should be undertaken. And I say this with the greatest of empathy. Every time we speak about this, with the Kriya group, I get a lot of sadness actually back in return, because I understand that it's not that women deliberately want to uh, do their bodies any harm. Sometimes we are in circumstances where we do not have support, we do not have people to look after us, or we're in the middle of a career, and we've all worked really hard for that career and we want to go back, and I say all of this with the greatest of empathy. This is not to discourage anyone who hasn't had the opportunity to do this, but I think where the intention of both of us in this is actually just to give people
Right.
the information. So even if you can do a small part of this, for yourself, it will be
Yeah.
good for your body. So it's like taking time out. It's an investment in your body's,
Yeah.
health. So that is the thing.
Great.
Right.
And I think this also brings us to two more questions that you mentioned during the last few minutes, which is first is Abhyanga or massage. Why should a newly delivered woman in the first 3 months or 6 months period undergo massage? How does that help her regain her strength? And yeah,
Right. Right. So the whole thing in Ayurveda is this, that we look at health, we look at the body as a mixture of three doshas, which is Vata dosha, Pitta dosha, and Kapha dosha. So I don't want to get into the basics right now because we're stressed for time. But when the woman delivers the baby, see the womb which was previously filled, with the baby, with the amniotic fluid, etc., suddenly becomes empty, right? So in emptiness, what Ayurveda tells us is that air rushes in to fill gaps, right? So when air rushes in to fill gaps, air is made up of a combination of Vayu plus Akash. So Vata dosha aggravates. Now, Vata dosha in our body is responsible for mobility and for strength, for movement, but it has to be at the right levels. What happens in a postpartum woman naturally is because of the delivery and because of the emptiness and the gap in the body, there is a sudden increased aggravation in Vata dosha, which leads to all the issues that we normally see, which is poor digestion, poor strength in the back, very high backaches, displaced or prolapsed uterus over a period of time, a hard stomach which is protruding, and poor appetite, etc. Right. So the effort in postpartum care is to help bind and control this aggravated Vata dosha. Now, Vata as a dosha responds best to oil, to Abhyanga, right? So, therefore, Abhyanga is part of the Dinacharya or the daily routine for a postpartum woman. In fact, Abhyanga is recommended for everyone, not just for a postpartum woman. But especially in a postpartum woman, it is non-negotiable because it immediately helps control and bind the aggravated Vata dosha. So many of the normal complaints that postpartum women have, which is my back is feeling weak, my muscles are feeling weak, I don't have strength, I have severe constipation, all of these complaints, can be managed by regular Abhyanga. It's a very simple practice, and it used to be part of all traditional postpartum care in India before, right? But it makes a huge difference, a very, very large difference in the health of the woman, right? It's just that we've lost the knowledge and the reasons behind it, so we're not investing time in it. So just this is it's very, very critical. One of the issues that postpartum women face, again, because of aggravated Vata dosha, is very high hair loss. So when you start doing Abhyanga for this, even this starts to get controlled. Your hormonal balance starts getting controlled. Your mood start getting controlled because many postpartum women are subjected to postpartum depression, which is an aggravation of Vata dosha and Kapha dosha. So again, here Abhyanga helps. So it is like a practice which helps in many symptomatic things that we face after delivery. So it's essential for for strength, for well-being, for good bone and muscle growth, etc. The pity of this is this, that even today in India, traditionally babies are given a massage, right? So earlier, when the baby was given a massage, the mother would also be given a massage. So it was like a two-in-one thing, right? Unfortunately, what has happened is the mother has slowly gotten missed out of this equation. It still continues for the baby, but not for the mother, and it's really critical, for the mother. Reproductive wellness of the mother post-delivery really depends upon careful postpartum care, So many of the issues that women sometimes face during menopause, after 40s, could have been handled if a little bit more effort and a little bit more care was taken during this phase. So that is the importance. It's a practice. I mean, if you can do nothing else, you should do this.
And how soon after delivery should it should be started, the Abhyanga or the massage?
Right. Right. So remember, I had said that there are 3 parts to the postpartum recovery phase. There is a Sadhyaha part, there is a 13-day to 48 days, and then there is a 48 days to 6 months. So in the first 13 days itself, Ayurveda has split it into 0 to 3 and 3 to 13. Okay. So 0 to 3 is when we do nothing. So immediately after delivery, we do nothing. In fact, we don't even have a very vigorous bath. Again, this is something that most people are not aware of. So the body is in an extreme state of, Ayurveda would treat it like a patient after a major operation or a major surgery, right? So anything that you do to the body can shake it up. So excess air, excess water, all of this can derange the body. So actually from day 0 to day 3, you're only supposed to have a very tiny sponge bath, just dab water, and the entire bathing process should be over in 10 minutes. That thing is suggested to ensure that nobody is sitting and soaking in water. And we are supposed to use certain herbs which have a very astringent and shrinking effect and healing effect on the body, because the woman's body has a lot of tears. There could be bleeding, there could be engorgement, etc. So the massage can be started after day 3 or day 5. This is if you've had a vaginal delivery. If it is a C-section, we avoid doing any massage in the lower abdominal area until the sutures are healed. So it takes usually, I'd say, 6 weeks. In some women, it takes a little longer. So after that, it can be started. It is preferable to do what we call a full Abhyanga, which is the entire body. But if that cannot be done, just the portion from the waist up to the knees alone every day in oil, right? And that makes a big, difference. So that's the timing when we can start.
That's really helpful. Another thing that our viewers have asked us, or is a common practice still in some cultures, is stomach binding or stomach tying with a sari. Does that help to regain the core strength, or does it help to flatten the belly back to its original position? What is the importance of that practice?
Right, so that's another method. So remember, we had said that there is a Vata aggravation because of the emptiness in the womb. So to shrink the space so that the air does not rush into the body, we are asked to shrink the space by binding the belly, right? So this is actually the purpose of that. So in fact, one of my Ayurvedic teachers, both of them, in fact, tell me that this is a practice still done in certain tribal communities in India, and they take it to like an art form, So they actually have specially designed abdominal and lumbar belts. While I was just prepping for the program, I actually went online and I saw that this has become a huge trend in the US. Abdominal and lumbar belts are being sold today, and they're being sold saying that this is a traditional practice in India. And I was pondering about the irony of the whole thing, because in India we're not doing it. And very beautifully designed belts. So the whole thing of the belt is this, that it is supposed to bind your belly. You're supposed to wear it for 5 to 6 hours a day, right? That's not the entire day, but at least 5 to 6 hours a day. What the acharyas recommend is old soft cloth, basically an old sari, which is wrapped 5 to 6 times, around the belly, right? So, I mean, that's the least fancy option. If you have access to a very, like a high tech thing,
Basically, your
that's another
grandmother's
thing.
sari or,
So
a
this
really old sari which has been used multiple times.
Right. So they've said soft cotton because they've said that there is a pitta aggravation in skin after delivery. Many women find the stretch marks start burning and start itching. So they said to be careful and use very soft and old cotton cloth for this. Uh, 5 to 6 hours a day, you can wear it if you're taking a nap. You can wear it while you're working. You can wear it while you're eating, and this along with abhyanga and all of that is to be done. Again, if you have delivered through C-section, wait until the sutures are healed, because if you over tie the stomach or put too much of pressure, that there could be bleeding over there. So just wait until the sutures
Yeah,
are healed.
makes sense. Thank you so much, Preeti, for telling us all of this. Another question that we get, and women are not comfortable with, is that why should they have dietary changes, and how long should these dietary changes last? Eating non-oily, non-spicy food, eating home cooked simple food. How does that help the mother herself and probably her baby because she's breastfeeding?
Right. So basically, the mother's Ayurveda says that breast milk is basically rasadhatu or lymph. Rasadhatu is produced by the ahara or the food that we eat. So we're literally generating, our baby's food. But that's not the primary reason for your diet, right? The primary reason for your diet is your health. So again, depending on which phase of postpartum care you are, whether you are in the first 10 days, whether you're in day 13 to day 48, whether you're day 48 to the 6th month, the dietary changes change. In the first 13 days, the dietary changes are suggested because you are very weak after delivery. And what Ayurveda says is that Vata is most deranged. Immediately after delivery, there is the maximum aggravation of Vata dosha. So your digestive strength and ability is very limited. So even if you ate heavy food or oily food, you are unable to process it. Your chance of contracting infection and illness is also very, very high. In fact, that is one of the reasons why isolation is suggested for women, because you want to manage a postpartum woman naturally, because if you fall ill, the amount of drugs that can be given to you are limited because everything will be passed on to your baby, right? So the idea is to manage the postpartum woman with as little medical intervention as possible using diet, rest, and isolation. So there's no time limit to it. When does
Correct.
Vata aggravation reduce, right? So basically, it keeps on reducing over time, right? So at least for 6 to 8 months, it makes sense to have home food. It makes sense to have freshly cooked food and warm food. And in every community in India, depending on which phase the mother is in, there are special foods which are given to the postpartum woman for two reasons. One is to build her strength. Second is to improve digestion because Vata is aggravated. And third is to ensure that there is no block in the flow of breast milk, and also that there is plentiful supply of breast milk, right? Now, this plentiful supply of breast milk and blocking of breast milk are both important because the channels have to be open for the milk to flow. It's not enough only to produce the milk. Second is, like I said, milk is from your lymph, from your rasa dhatu. If you give up everything to the baby, then you will be weak, right? So the process of postpartum care is to ensure that you can feed your baby and support your baby while you gain strength, right? So it's not a 1-0-1 sum sort of thing. It's a win-win situation. At least that's how it's been designed, right? So that is the purpose of the thing. So it starts very gradually. So the first 10 days you're given first 3 days you're given only liquid food. You're not given solid at all. You're given warm liquid food. Certain herbs are prescribed which help in digestion. And depending on whether you eat non-veg or whether you're a vegetarian, different options are there. So even in non-veg, for example, this is the thing we often talk about. The non-veg that you get today is not ideal at all, right? If you see chicken, it's called kukuta in Sanskrit, right? Native Indian chicken is actually very strength giving. It actually it does not increase fat. but we don't eat that, right? I mean, we tend to eat broiler chicken, which has been fed, which is extremely fat, and which actually gives you very high cholesterol, right? So our food choices are bad. Actually, that is the problem. We don't have awareness of what we should be eating, even when you're not pregnant or even when you're not postpartum. So then that's why these restrictions seem so difficult. You know, the other thing is this, that we were talking about
Yeah.
menstruation, right? Ayurveda recognizes that food triggers menstruation, right? So if you have very, very spicy food, it will trigger menstruation. Certain preservatives that are there in processed food. So, for example, if you see preservatives like sodium benzoate, okay, now sodium benzoate is a preservative which is used in some people who make these homemade ketchups, jams, etc. Sodium benzoate has the ability to trigger menstruation. Methyl paraben has the ability to trigger menstruation, right? So apart from the foods themselves, processed foods are a whole new sort of animal, right? Uh, they are not healthy, and they have the ability to make physiological changes which your body is not prepared for, right? And let's not forget that um, I don't know how sometimes I feel that women take uh, our experiences very lightly. You know, it's a big deal. You know, giving birth to a baby is a very big deal. It is a very big,
Milestone
large
in our
change. You
life.
know, since only, yeah, and men don't go through it, right? So they are not equipped to understand
Yeah.
what happens. But I don't know, this could be the equivalent of several marathons, several Ironman, and getting punched several times in the face, right? Even after a marathon, people take rest, right? But then, no, we want to be super women after a baby, and we want to run and start working, right? We don't want to take
Yeah.
rest. Right? I think that we must take a moment to understand the size of what we've done, and then take it easy. So the food choices that we make are going to strengthen us, and they're going to give good quality nutrition to our baby, right? So it's both. Don't just think about the baby, think about yourself also, right? If you want your uterine muscles to get properly back in shape, you have to contract well. Your back muscle should become strong. Your bones should not get weak. You should not develop things like
Hmm.
osteoporosis. Your hair and skin should not look ragged. You should not have falling hair, and you should be like charged and pumped 6 7 months later, saying, okay, now I'm going to get back to work, right? You should look your best when you go back, and you have the greatest chance of doing that if you take care of yourself and if you eat
Right.
well.
Yeah. And I think there is no second way to do that. I think it might be a long journey to get back to your previous self, but I guess it will be every bit worth it, because anything that
Yeah, even small things work. Like I said, the oil massage, the kind of food that you take, the rest that you
hmm,
allow yourself, the help that you ask, from your family, saying that I cannot do this myself. Somebody needs to help me. Getting sleep at the proper time, not getting stressed. I think a lot of women get extremely stressed, career women, about rejoining their career. Is this going to cost my promotion? What's going to happen? It's just 3 months or 6 months of your life. We all lead long lives, right? In a lifespan of 80 or 90, 6 months makes no difference, but it will make a huge difference to your
right.
health, right? So every step, like you said, every little thing that we do for our bodies
Yeah.
counts.
And I think women take that 6 month period of break that they get to care for their babies. Everything revolves around whether the baby is getting the right nutrition, whether the baby is gaining the right amount of weight, but they do not get that. It's very important for themselves also to regain their strength during the 6 month period. So it's not just the baby, it's the mom also who is recovering and becoming a new person all over again.
No, it's funny because one of the big times when people discover our brand is when they've had a baby. So that's when you start reevaluating your choices. So we have lots of young parents, young moms, and young dads coming, and they take, like you said, a huge amount of effort to understand what goes into our products and what is the right thing for them. So we always ask the mom, but aren't you going to buy an Abhyanga oil for
Yeah.
yourself? At the end of this, you know, and it then strikes a, oh, right, yeah, right, right. I never thought about it, right? Yes, there is a So actually these are so many of the reasons I'm so drawn to Ayurveda as a science. It is so extraordinarily compassionate and holistic in its view. It is not narrow at all. It is not looking at the woman as a baby producing machine. Okay, job done, all we're interested in is the baby. No. There is so much of emphasis given to the right postpartum care of the mother. And the rishis again and again say it is a team effort, not up to the woman to do this for herself. The family, who presumably wants the result of this, they want the baby, then they need to care for the mother, right? And everyone in the family, from the husband to the older people, are all sort of and all added to this whole team process. So sometimes women don't think of anything outside of the baby, but it's the job of the family to remind them that they need to care for themselves, right? Even when they don't, it would not naturally occur to them, but it needs the father, and it needs the parents, and it needs the in-laws to remind them that that you are young, that you have a long life ahead of you. You need to be healthy.
Yeah, it needs a whole community effort, as they say. It relates to
Right.
at least the mom and the baby, not
the baby, not just the baby, not just the baby.
Okay, and we've had questions coming in from our stories and otherwise as well. A lot of women suffer from back issues post-delivery, both if they deliver vaginally or C-section. Back trouble is, a common trouble across all moms, at least in the first 1 or 2 years. So what can they do to ease themselves of the
Right.
back pain, especially if they were not able to care for themselves, right? Because, see, we are sharing this session, but for women who've already been and not been able to devote so much time to themselves, how do they get back and, fix these small ailments?
At any point, a vata balancing regime really helps. So, for example, if let us say they are 6 months postpartum, right? They haven't been able to do what we were asked to do, but they can start now. Let us say they are 1 year postpartum, they can still start now. We have customers who are 5 years postpartum, but who are still suffering from vata aggravation. So there is no better time to start. So what I would advise is start looking at your diet. First, look at two things for vata. Three things actually when it comes to working women. Look at your diet. Remove vata aggravating foods. Vata aggravating foods are potato, cabbage, cauliflower, all the regular gas producing foods. Include good fats in your diet. So many women, especially after delivery, are very concerned about their weight, so they try and eliminate fats. So don't use things like an air fryer, microwave. Don't make dry crisp food. Add good fat to it. Look at your schedule. Vata responds to schedule. So if you eat at all sorts of odd times, and if you sleep at all sorts of odd times, your vata will get aggravated. So try and put your schedule back on track. So eat at the right time, sleep at the right time. The third is start the practice of Abhyanga. Abhyanga works, like I said, Abhyanga is a dinacharya for everyone, not just for postpartum women. So it will help you at any point in time to start binding your aggravated vata dosha. It has very, very quick effects on backaches, because backaches usually point to weak back muscles and weak ligaments, which have been sort of rattled after the delivery, right? And Abhyanga starts helping by strengthening that. If you're, let's say, a few years after your delivery, adding thoughtful yoga to it also helps, because yoga, especially poses, inversion poses, also help strengthen the back muscles. So it doesn't matter where you are, self-care always works. So look at vata. We have lots more information on this on our blog and stuff, and people can always write to us and get to know. But these 3-4 things you can do.
I think if anyone has more questions, they can always reach out to the Kriya handle, which we've shared on our post as well. And the team is more than receptive and answers promptly to all those questions. So we can take some live questions now. One question is from Manisha. In COVID days, we cannot get help for massage. So is there any specific way can we do massage ourselves?
Right. So it is not, we generally don't recommend other people to massage you for the same reason, even in non-COVID times, because like I said, we, after delivery, isolation is best. So you don't want to have you don't want to have people from outside coming in and visiting you.
The whole practice of Japa maids who come for a month and take care of the mother, massage the baby. So you're saying that it should be done by self.
In some cases, if the mother is very, very weak, it is helpful. Um, it's good if your family recommends it and if the person is known to them, right? If they're traditionally from the family. I'm finding that in many cities there are companies
Yes.
selling these services. So it really depends on the person. Sometimes it could be the massage could be too strong because let's remember the body is still not strong, right? So that's the only objection that I kind of have to this, that unless you know the person and they're familiar with you, the technique could be wrong. So it's not at all a bad thing to do it yourself if you have the strength, or it's okay to start with somebody else and then slowly graduate to you doing it for yourself. But if you're worried about corona, it's actually a good thing. If you can massage yourself, it's the best thing. This is what I believe in because um, the reason is this, that when we start working with our body ourselves in Abhyanga, we can understand the signals that the body is giving us much better. So you will be able to see the progress now versus 6 months later versus 7 months later. You'll actually be able to do it. The only thing that stands in our way is physical tiredness or weakness. So you can start with less massage, and you can slowly build it up as your strength goes. So you don't have to worry that you don't have people. It's a great thing actually. It's a good thing of corona. In fact, the other good thing of corona is that everyone is in isolation. No one is going anywhere, right? That's what Ayurveda suggests anyway.
And I
So
think
it's
that
good.
helps because, having a newborn baby used to be like a big event for a lot of families, especially if it was the first baby and a lot of people coming in. And I think that has reduced thanks to Corona. And it's just the parents and maybe, the woman's parent or mother-in-law who's caring and, very limited people.
Right.
So that helps with isolation as well.
Right. Ayurveda actually says that both the baby and the mother are in a very subtle and very receptive state after delivery, right? So they are very, very, they want people to be very careful about negative energy, from people, from situations, etc. So in fact, one part of the postpartum care is actually to burn certain herbs and, have that kind of incense in the home every day, both morning and evening, to build in prana and build in positive energy. So it's actually a good thing to have a restricted set of visitors, so you don't have to deal with too much. You can just use that time to recover and be with the baby, right?
And so let's take the question which is stuck on the page as well. It's been 4 months C-section.
Yes.
When can I start light exercises?
Yes. Right. So a couple of things with C-section, you need to take a little bit more rest compared to vaginal delivery. Okay, so that's what it's suggested in Ayurveda. So it's roughly 1.5 times the amount of rest. So if you had vaginal delivery, you should take rest for at least 3 to 4 months. If it's C-section, it's at least 5 to 6 months. That's part one. Part two is this, that it all depends on your prakriti and your constitution and how strong you were before your pregnancy and your delivery, right? So if you're going to be starting an exercise program for the first time, then it's one thing. If you're already a regular exerciser, it's another thing, because it all depends upon your state of strength and muscles. In general, for the first 6 months, only light exercise is recommended, but the definition of light varies from person to person. So it's good for you to check with your Vaidya or your yoga teacher or your trainer, and start. After 6 months, what the acharyas recommend is slow exercise which helps stimulate the uterus and the uterine muscles. So, but until 6 months, it is supposed to be very light. If you look at pranayama, we are not even allowed to do kapalabhati for the first 6 months. So you can't even expand and contract the abdomen very strongly, right? So, but everything depends, everything has to be tailor-made to you. So check with your Vaidya and look at your own physical fitness, and then check with your trainer. Preferably find somebody who's used to coaching postpartum women. The others may not know exactly what needs to be done.
Okay.
What are the things to be taken care of for C-section in terms of food intake and for increase in lactation? Right. The same with C-section and with vaginal delivery, the aggravation of vata is the same. So you will have to look at So every community in India has a very rich repertoire of postpartum foods, So it changes by season, by what season your baby was born. It changes by where you're living. So are you living in a cold climate? Are you living in a wet climate? Are you living in a hot climate? So it's best to check with your family elders about what is traditionally followed in your home for postpartum. So there are so that's the first part. So you'll have to take care of vata aggravation. For C-section, the recovery process is a little longer. So you may want to be on a more restricted diet for a longer time compared to somebody with a vaginal delivery, because your suture, your body needs to heal a little longer. When it comes to lactation foods, there are two things in lactation. One is that there must be proper production of breast milk. Second is that the channels which are delivering breast milk have to be unclogged, right? So your food has to take care of both of this. So you should not be just increasing the lactation. You should also be ensuring that the channels are clean. There are lots and lots of lagyas and bulas in Ayurveda which can be prescribed for this. But it really depends on your prakriti and what appears to be the issue with you. Is it a production issue? Is it an issue of channel clear general? And it also depends on your prakriti, your body type, etc. So it's actually great to also check with a Vaidya. Some of the common herbs which are kitchen herbs which are used are methi, dhania, gond, aliv, these things. And remember one more thing, like I said, breast milk comes from rasadhatu, which is lymph. Rasadhatu comes from ahara, right? So good, well-planned food itself should help increase lactation, right? You don't need to eat something special to increase lactation, right? So things like including milk, eating the right food, avoiding fried food, avoiding cold food like ice creams, yogurt, milkshakes, all of these. So a well-planned diet itself should give you good lactation. In addition, your Vaidya can prescribe other things depending on what your constitution requires. If you've had a C-section, you need to follow the diet restriction for slightly longer than somebody with a vaginal delivery. That's the three things.
Very, very well put out. Thank you. There was one more. How to prevent excessive hair fall that occurs postpartum? I think this is another common issue a lot of women face.
Okay. Right. So postpartum hair fall occurs due to vata aggravation, okay, which occurs because of the process of the delivery itself. So again, for postpartum hair fall, apart from choosing the right hair products, it's very important to take care of vata buildup in the body, right? So therefore, Abhyanga, right? So if you start for postpartum, for all moms who come to us for postpartum hair fall, we suggest a regular Abhyanga. By regular, I mean at least 2 to 3 times a week, if not every single day. Every single day is what is recommended. But if not that, at least 2 to 3 times a week. If you don't have time to do then Abhyanga for the entire body, at least the portion from the waist up to the knee has to be massaged every single day. And frankly, that takes literally 2 minutes. Like, it doesn't take more than 2 minutes. I've timed it. Okay, so mini Abhyanga just takes 2 minutes. So that needs to be done. Second thing with vata aggravation, like I said, you'll have to look at your food. When you start having biscuits, chips, papad, breakfast cereal, granola bars, anything which is dry, hard, and crisp aggravates vata. So soft, liquidy, warm, freshly prepared food is what we suggest for vata aggravation. If you're breastfeeding the baby, one of the issues that many women face is untimely sleep, right? Because you can't schedule the baby waking up at a particular time, but you must be eating at the right time. So make sure that you're eating your breakfast on time. Make sure that you're eating your lunch at time. If you're staying up late at night and if you're hungry, drink milk. Milk is what is recommended by Ayurvedic Vaidyas. It helps. It is vata balancing. It is nourishing, and it will also promote lactation. So take all the right dietary support. Take rest whenever you can. Ask for help. Don't try and do this yourself all alone. find a nanny if you must, or find a cook, but take rest and take help. All of this, along with using the right hair products, will help in postpartum hair loss. Postpartum hair loss is temporary. Okay, so first we must remember that it is normal and it is temporary. So there is no need to get alarmed by it, right? It's important to balance the vata in your body. As you do that, it will also get solved, right? So it's like teenage acne. Everybody when they turn 12 gets acne, right? It's a normal phenomenon. There's nothing to get worried about. Similarly, postpartum hair fall, it's somewhat normal. Even with the best postpartum care, you can expect some amount of hair loss. Don't worry about it. Focus on bringing your vata back to normal and focus on nourishing yourself. It will get back to normal.
Great. Yeah. Let's just see one more questions are there. Common myths on child will have for extended breast.
Yeah, sorry.
What would be the right time to think about next pregnancy? What does Ayurveda say about baby-led weaning?
Okay, so this my answer could be slightly controversial, right? In not in the Ayurvedic text, but in common knowledge and among traditional families, we have seen cases of extended breastfeeding till the baby is 2 years and sometimes 3 years. In Ayurveda, weaning is recommended when the baby gets its milk tooth, when the baby starts sprouting teeth. So it's 9 months, 12 months. So the concept of baby-led weaning is not there in Ayurveda. It is recommended to start the child on solid foods. The reason behind this is actually the logic is very sound, because like I said, you are making breast milk from your rasa dhatu, which is your lymph, right? If so you are sharing your nutrients with the baby. At a point when the baby cannot get nutrients from anywhere outside of you, it makes sense. But if the baby can eat solid food, then it makes sense to conserve those nutrients for yourself. That's part one. Part two is this, that for the first 1 year of your life, you're probably going to have your family around you. Like definitely the first 6 months, you will have your family taking care of you, making sure that you're eating well. And you may be eating all these herbs that Ayurveda recommends, right? Where you're supposed to supplement your diet with these herbs. But if you're going to be breastfeeding at 2, at 1.5, at 3, you may be going to work. You may not have the same amount of care that is required when you are doing this for the first 1 year. So if you're going to be doing breastfeeding at this age, either you have to take a lot of care to supplement your food so that you are not depleted, right? If you're doing that, then this is not a bad thing to do. But if you're going to be forgetting about that, then it's not a good thing to do, because you are feeding the baby at your cost, right? So remember that when you're doing an extended breastfeeding program, you should do an extended nutrient program for yourself, right? If that's not possible, then it's going to affect your health.
Because the baby is already getting nutrients from elsewhere, from solid foods. And I think it's just for the comfort level, or, some extended nutrients that the baby is breastfeeding. And mostly, I think after 6 months, it usually happens during early mornings or late nights feeding sessions. So
right.
I guess
right. I mean, I do understand this, because I am on a lot of these groups where baby-led weaning is common. But this is my point of view. I feel that it is coming at the mother's cost, and I'm not sure if the mother is thinking about that. That was my point. They said, when is the right time to think about the next pregnancy? 1.5 to 2 years, 2 years to 3 years. That's the right time. So that's part of the question.
And the next question is, common myths on the child will have gas if the mother has food that increases gas. How true is this?
Very true. When the baby is eating exclusively of you, it's absolutely true. Because again, breast milk is equal to rasa dhatu. Rasa dhatu is from the ahara that you eat. So if the ahara that you eat has high vata dosha, then everything that you create from that ahara also has high vata dosha. So your Rasadhatu will have aggravated Vata dosha. So the breast milk that you produce will have aggravated Vata dosha. So what you feed to the baby will have aggravated Vata dosha. So absolutely, it is not a myth at all. It is actually true. And in Ayurveda, there are 3 tests actually. Where a Vaidya can actually express breast milk and they can tell and they can test it and tell you, is it high in Vata, is it high in Pitta, is it high in
Oh,
Kapha? So yes, and if it's high in Pitta, your child will develop a fever because Pitta has Agni in it, right? So so in fact, what they've suggested is that if the mother's breast milk is vitiated, put the child onto a nurse who can feed the child with unvitiated breast milk. Do not give the child vitiated breast milk until the mother's breast milk is cleansed. So this is absolutely true. In fact, there are tests you can. I mean, I usually don't talk about the test because immediately people will say, "Can I go and try this at home?" And you don't want to do this without a idea. But yeah, there are proper tests. Similarly, I mean, it's every material that our body produces, whether it is menstrual blood or breast milk or anything else, you can see what dosha is received by the odor, color, appearance, everything. So not a myth.
do we have to wait for 100 or 90 days for resting and avoid traveling? I think this is something that we've already covered. And according to you, I think it's about 6 month period of complete rest, right, Preeti?
Yes, traveling. Actually, in Ayurveda, you don't step out of the house for the first 4 months. Actually, the first visit that the mother does is along with the baby. Is the baby's first visit to the temple. So, I mean, that depends on the religion, of course, that you follow. But in Ayurveda, it says that it's around the 4th month. That's when the baby's neck starts to stand slightly without support. Like not completely, but slightly without support. So that's when you're allowed to sort of go out. So if the traveling is unavoidable, well, then I guess there's nothing we can do. But if it is avoidable and if you can because traveling will again increase, it will aggravate Vata dosha, your diet will go out of sync, you will be exposed to all sorts of people, germs, other environment, your sleep will be, will go for a toss. So you'll have to wait and see whether it is worth all of this. If it isn't, then well, then don't do it. Right, so that's the thing.
I think one question is on pregnancy, thyroid can be cured or not.
I'm assuming hypothyroidism.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes, yes. I mean, it will. You need to go to the Vaidya, of course. Yes, I think it can. Yes. Similarly to gestational diabetes, also. Yes, but through Ahara control.
And do you want to take this question? Any Indian substitute for witch hazel healing pads for episiotomy stitches?
Yes, there are lots of Ayurvedic herbs, that one can use for episiotomy stitches. In fact, there are many suggestions that Ayurveda says to help reduce the vaginal bleeding, to help with the engorgement of the uterus, etc. These are not practices that Indian gynecologists are okay with today. So that is why one doesn't talk about them. But if you go to a Vaidya, there are many. Healing herbs, for example, Lodra, Chandana, Triphala, all of these are excellent for healing herbs. So a Vaidya can help you with this. They can give you a herb mix which you can make into a kashayam and use it, for as a healing pad for episiotomy stitches. So absolutely there are Indian substitutes, but you'll need to go to the Vaidya to check it. And you'll have to remember that your gynae won't like it.
Yeah, and I think that's the tussle between modern and traditional methods of doing things. But then again, you are the best judge for your body. The practices that you believe in and you want to follow, doing proper research and taking enough and more time to understand and decide what's best for you and your body.
Right. And do understand that, we have a formal program for postpartum. No, we don't. But we do guide a lot of women in postpartum. Do remember that we actually restrict our offerings to hair and skin. So, we can help only to a limited extent. But let's say a Vaidya can help you to a much greater extent. So if you want to heal your body, postpartum, I would say the best bet is to go to a good Vaidya. We have a good list of Vaidyas. If you want to heal postpartum hair loss, you can come to us. We will also send you to a Vaidya, right? So that helps.
Yeah.
Do we have a blog post on anything on what to do in each of the 4 trimesters as per Ayurveda? 4 trimesters. I'm not able to understand this.
I
Which
think
Kriya product?
the
What are
fourth
the
trimester is the first 3 months with the baby. So the first 3 trimesters of pregnancy and the fourth trimester, like just
okay,
after
okay,
birth.
okay. Yes, yeah, we haven't actually written the pregnancy blog post, but we will, write it. So thank you for reminding me that I need to write it. Uh, so yes, we will write it, and yes, I will include the Kriya products that you can use in each trimester in that as well. So I will note that down. Yes, thank you for
Yeah.
that. What are other questions? I seem to miss some questions there.
I think when should we start exercising is something you've answered. And what all type of exercises? Again, you mentioned that it depends on the prakriti, on how active you were before your pregnancy, and then
Correct,
taking it
correct.
up gradually, right?
Um, yes. So, see, we'll have to remember that any exercise will stimulate
Mm-hmm.
menstruation. So that is the thing to keep in mind. Similarly, spicy food will stimulate menstruation. So it all, like I said, it all depends on a well thought out plan. But in general, the lighter the better. You know, I think simple walks and all that are not a problem. Pranayama would be very very good. If you're initiated into it, or if you can find a good yoga teacher, pranayama will be very good because the flow of good pure prana through the body can help with many issues, during pregnancy, especially of the mental kind like postpartum depression. So a good pranayama program can help, but do remember at all points for the first 6 months to take it easy. Don't be in a hurry. Is the
Yeah.
is it?
And I'm just quickly going through and just seeing if we missed out on any questions. Having
Questions, right?
comments as well, requesting people to save this session. I think some of them joined a bit later. So we will be
Okay.
saving this session to our IGTV channel called The Expert Talk and also putting it up as a post.
Does lack of rest or sleep disturb postpartum menstruation? Okay, you mean, I guess she means the triggering
Right.
of menstruation. Does the lack of rest or sleep disturb it? Well, in the sense that it's a given that a mother has to wake up and feed the baby, right? I think that's part of the natural cycle. Like I said, that does tend to regularize with time. It is not the case when the baby is 8 months old, 9 months old, 1 year, etc. I think that my advice is don't worry, about the small individual things that could be going wrong or that are not going right. I'm saying try and take an effort around adding good inputs, you know. So for example, one of the things that we do recommend is a regular Pada Abhyanga at night. That is very, very helpful for postpartum women because they do accumulate a lot of fatigue in their legs. Um, Good food, the food bit is very, very important. Good rest and lack of stress. So if you get 4 to 5 things right, then it doesn't matter if one thing you're not able to control. Right? So in over time, the night waking up will also regularize. So I don't think you should worry about it. Is it very important to tight with a cloth stomach? It will give you backache. No, actually, it will help your backache. So I think the question that was asked is, will the stomach tying give you a backache? It actually helps with that. It actually helps support the back.
Actually, how tight should it
But
be?
like I said,
Is that should it be very tight or should it be comfortably tight? And because if it is very tight, then it will restrict.
It should be snug. It should be snug. See, basically the idea is to compress the stomach, but you should be able to breathe and eat. So it's not like an old-fashioned corset or something like that. Where it actually reduces your waist size and stuff. But it is a binder, in the sense that if you imagine that there is a gap like this, you're trying to bind that gap. So it is a binder. but it is not supposed to constrict you uncomfortably or ensure that you can't breathe or you can't eat. You're supposed to be able to function while doing, while wearing the.
Right.
Okay, what all exercises? Okay, did we get all of the
Yeah,
questions?
yeah. We've
Oh,
answered
there are
all
two,
of the
three questions on
questions.
it.
It's just that some people may be joining late, so they have missed it. And if the question is already covered, the video will be there for reference,
Right.
and they can, look at it and know. And also, we are at now 1 o'clock. It's been an hour. We've been conversing with Preeti here at the top of the hour, and Insta sessions also have a time limit of 1 hour. So before we get kicked out,
Okay.
let me thank Preeti for joining us today and giving us such a wealth of information about postpartum care. With all the reasoning behind why these practices are carried out, what is the significance, and how these will help for a longer term health benefit and postpartum journey. So thanks a lot.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me here, Supi, and I hope this was of use to
Yeah,
everyone. Thank you so
definitely.
much.
And thank you so much. I'm sure lots of our viewers will be reaching out to you through the Kriya handle with your issues, and you can always take it up there. Thank you so
Sure.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.